All right, everyone, welcome into episode 6 of the Hooley Brothers podcast. We're here on Super Tuesday, or what would usually be Super Tuesday in Tampa with all the media there and media day and everything, but of course a little bit different this year. But we're getting there. We're 5 days away now. Talking to you on Tuesday night from the Super Bowl, the big game. Mike, how you doing?
Not bad. I'm looking forward to the big game. That's all you can really
Yeah,
say.
right. I gotta be careful there. Not that anyone's really looking around for us too much. We're kind of the little guys here. But anyway, yeah, obviously big game coming up on Sunday. Again, probably more of a preview for you on our Saturday edition here, as we're still getting a little bit away, and there's only so much to talk about the same storylines over again. Obviously, uh, greatest quarterback of all time versus the greatest probably in the game right now, and it's going to be the best for the future here. So obviously a lot of storylines there. But yeah, just focusing on yeah, really thinking about how this week's supposed to be kind of a crazy lead up and a lot going down at the Super Bowl site. So obviously kind of a bummer that that's not happening this year. And I was thinking like that's something I definitely gotta do one of these years is go down to the Super Bowl for the whole week.
Yeah, even if you don't have tickets to the game, just enjoy a
Yeah.
nice get away from the Boston winter and just get down to a nice warm location
Right,
and
right.
then just
Because
get
it's
involved in
usually
media, walk in the media row.
yeah, exactly. It's usually somewhere warm. The location. I know sometimes the
Once every
dome's a
5 years,
little.
you get the cold spot. But
Yeah,
cold dome,
Minneapolis,
Minnesota.
Indy. Though I've heard Indy's not bad, but I mean, I'd prefer to go to like New Orleans or Miami or LA. It's gonna be in Vegas soon, so that'll be a lot of fun, obviously. So yeah, definitely gotta get out
Even like
there and
Arizona, just get a giant place and
oh
just
yeah,
pool.
yeah. I almost wouldn't hate. I know some people even fly back before the game starts. I almost wouldn't even hate staying, just going to like a bar or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but yeah, we'll have to figure that out one of these years. But anyway, like I said, still about 5 days away. I think the line's still sitting at 3.5 for Kansas City.
Yeah, last I
I
checked,
would
I saw
think.
that.
Yeah. So again, just all the logic's telling me Kansas City, but again, tough to ever count on Tom. So it's gonna be a close one there, or at least we hope we got a good game coming for us on Sunday night. But again, we'll save most of the preview there for Saturday afternoon. That'll kind of be most of our show then, and then our early one next week will be kind of mostly a recap. So we're going to hit on a few things tonight, and then kind of again once the next two episodes are complete, then we'll kind of shift our gears more towards the winter sports that we have here, and then obviously baseball coming up as well. But we do have some other NFL news break. It was kind of a crazy Saturday night. Uh, Again, I was tuned into the Celtics Lakers game, but and we'll get to that a little bit. But then I saw an ESPN alert come across my phone from Schefter, and I even tweeted it from our new account. So if you're not following, go ahead and do that. I'm going to retweeting. I'll be retweeting from my account our episodes once they drop. But anyway, the QB carousel has started this offseason. So even though the Super Bowl is still behind us, and yes, it's starting to spin. We had our first major move on Saturday night. I think I said this last episode. I just saw Matthew Stafford in LA, and it happened. So he's going to the Rams in exchange for Jared Goff, couple first round picks, and then was it a second as well?
I think a second, yes.
Yeah, so really big haul uh for Detroit rather. I mean, I know a lot of it was again taking Goff's contract, but
Third,
it's still
sorry.
so it's two first and a third, right? Okay. But yeah, so it's again a lot of it was taking the money that they just gave Goff. So that's a whole thing. I don't know what LA's doing. So again, you go back in time and really they're gonna have one. So again, they've made a few trades. Obviously, the Jalen Ramsey trade,
Brandon
the
Cooks.
trade for Brandon Cooks, and then now this one upcoming here with for Stafford. So it's going to be from I don't even know if there were there ones before Goff that they traded as well. I'm not sure because basically it's from 2016 to 2023. You're gonna have one first round pick, and it's the guy you just traded, Jared Goff.
It's unbelievable how much capital they use to acquire
Mm-hmm.
him, sign him, and then
Yeah,
get rid of him.
yeah. So it's really confusing process over there as far as and Snead's been there the whole time, right?
I
For
believe
all
so.
these
Yeah,
moves.
I think he was.
Yeah,
I think he probably was hired with Fisher, and then once that,
right.
then he brought in this guy McVay. So
Right. So obviously McVay hasn't been at the helm for all these moves, but again, Les Snead has. So again, like you said, just you put all this time and effort into getting the guy. they were obviously they're in the 15 spot in that draft. They moved all the way up to 1, so that was a couple picks that had a couple first round picks, and then also later ones as well that kind of bounced around there. And so you had that going, and you put all that in just to get him here, and then you extend him. What was it, last year? And then now you're like, now we're done. We're moving on, and we're going to sink even more of our draft capital into turning it into Matthew Stafford, who, again, I think he's a really good quarterback. I do think he is a better quarterback than Goff from a skill set point of view. But what's he done? Goff's gone to the Super Bowl with this roster. And granted, Stafford's had no help in Detroit. I'm not trying to say that he's, I mean, he's had some solid wide receivers, no run game, really not much of a defense. But I mean, he's never really won anything.
Yeah, I do consider, like, yes, you could definitely attribute the amount of weapons and the McVay system, the fact that it was a kind of on its way up. I know they did make the playoffs and lost to Atlanta in their first year, but the second year when they did make the Super Bowl, that was kind of when the offense was firing on all cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
Like even CJ Henderson was able to step in when Gurley went down to like rush
Yeah.
for 120 yards a game. So you guess you could say that it wasn't all on Goff that year, but he proves that he can win. And though I think Stafford is an upgrade,
Mm-hmm.
how much of an upgrade I'm trying to figure out
Right.
now,
Right.
especially with all the capital he gave up. I don't know.
Yeah.
It kind of just, if they weren't in a win now mode, it's kind of, you have to win immediately mode now for
Yeah,
them.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, they got to win in these next 2, 3. I think 3 years is the absolute maximum that you have to win. Again, especially with everyone else's. Like again, you have a lot of parts in your team that are going to be up, and another they've already sunk a lot of money into that. But I think the point to look at here is I wonder what this trade would have looked like if say Goff was still on his rookie deal. You know what I mean? Because it's like so much of this I feel like a couple of the picks were to take on the salary. So I wonder if Goff is still on a rookie deal, if maybe you see one less first round pick going in the mix here, or maybe it's even a second and a third. Who knows? I think that's kind of where this price got a little bit inflated is taking on the Goff money. So I know a lot of people are like, oh, what's this mean for Deshaun Watson's trade value? And I think we'll get to that in a minute here, but that really I don't know. It's a little bit different because the money did play a huge factor in taking Goff's money on the way back. Because the Detroit probably wants to pretty much rebuild, and Goff's still young. He's only 26 years old, so you can still kind of do that if you think he's the guy. But you're also taking a lot of money back in the process. So you're not completely starting over with a clean slate.
Yeah, I do think when he goes talking going back to the value, I think the second first round pick, so like next year's first round pick, was probably
Mm-hmm.
for Goff's contract because the
Yeah,
Rams are probably picking like the mid-20s, which I could definitely say
maybe.
close.
Hopefully for them, or for
I
the
mean this
Rams rather.
this upcoming year. Like I'm guessing they gave away their draft pick in 2021. Oh
Yeah,
no,
because
it's 22 and 23. Yeah,
yeah, they don't even have because they don't have one this year. That was still
yeah.
part
So I
of
guess you
the
can
Ramsey
assume
trade
like
situation.
a late first compared to an early second.
Yeah.
Like it's a bit of an upgrade where it's not too much of an overpay, but it's definitely
Mm-hmm.
why the Lions would want to take LA's deal over like Carolina that I saw was interested.
Yeah, because what they offered 8, I don't know what other picks were going on with it, but that's obviously a determined asset. You know what I mean? Like that
Mhm.
that's a top 8 pick right now, whereas you don't really know where LA's going to end up, and most likely it will end up in the 20s. But you do have to wonder what the long term plan now is in Detroit. Were you going to ride with Goff again? He's a. If I were them, I probably would, just because I guess you could go for a guy this year, but you have him under contract. You're paying him all this money anyway. I mean, you could try to flip him and get even more picks out of it, but I don't know. I guess for now, you're probably going with Goff.
Yeah, I think this changes what they're going to do at eight at least. I would I would definitely.
Or 7, right? Otherwise, the Carolina was 8. No.
Yeah. Detroit 7. My bad.
Yeah.
It definitely kind of changes what they're doing there because I would maybe take like a pick on day two to kind of like make it a true competition, like you saw Seattle did back in the day when they signed Matt Flynn. They brought in Russell Wilson.
Right.
I
Right.
think they might
And
just want
I don't
to
even
clean
think
up
they
that QB.
expected.
Yeah, they
I
didn't
don't even think
expect
they
it.
expected that to be that close. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
I think they might just want to clean out that QB room and start fresh. And I do think a new QB plus a kind of a day two pick would be the way
Hmm.
to go there instead of and then using that pick, whether it's trading back, just get more draft capital, or taking a receiver, lineman, defensive
Yeah.
player.
Yeah.
Like
That's true. It does. Golf gives you options there. Maybe you were thinking of taking a quarterback at the 7 spot now. Maybe you can go for uh, if Jamar Chase falls or Devontae Smith falls, if you want to get a weapon for Goff, even though you have obviously Galladay and older Jones, and Galladay is he a free agent this year?
I think they might be moving on from both Galladay and Jones.
Yeah,
So
Jones. So yeah, maybe you'll need to again replenish the wide receiver position. There's a lot of holes in that team, so if you can focus not on quarterback at least for this year, I think that's a good sign for them. And I don't know, because if not, if they move on, I mean, again, from Patriots' point of view, I'll take pretty much anybody at this point that's has a proven track record. So I'm like, oh, maybe we could flip for Goff. But yeah, so I think that's kind of again the first uh
domino.
first domino. Yeah, thank you. Of what's going to happen here. Again, I still think no, I pretty much know Rodgers is staying in Green Bay. They've
Mhm.
I think LA tried to get him as well, and that was kind of a non-starter there.
Yeah, they
The
kicked
only
the
team I could see
tires.
trying to the only team I could try to see sneaking in there is San Francisco, but I think Green Bay is going to hold on to him no matter what. But again, it just opens up, again, what does this mean for A, the price of Watson, and B, kind of where he ends up. So again, we talked about last week about kind of the standoff that they're having, kind of just saying like, oh yeah, Deshaun's our quarterback. That's why I came here. If you're David Culley, but I think that they're gonna have to slowly accept the fact that they're gonna have to move on from him and try to get something back.
I think I heard some news updates saying that they're starting to consider the reality of the situation. Now he might just not play ever again. So you might as well
Right,
get
exactly.
peak value while you can.
Yeah, and it seems like in that instance, I don't know if the Jets might be the front runner. I think they might have the most to offer. I think the same with Miami. They're pretty much similar situations where you have a top three pick and a young quarterback to kind of send back along with it, which helps kind of even things out, or maybe you don't have to give up your entire draft
Mhm.
to do so. So I think you could see either one of those things happening. I know Deshaun said he wants to go to the Jets with Robert Saleh, so we've talked about it a few times here, and we'll kind of just have to wait and see what happens. But they seem like kind of the most likely. You could also see San Francisco sneak in there with the number 12 pick as well.
Yeah,
Um,
I think the Jets is probably gonna end up where he goes. Especially I
yeah,
want to see San Francisco.
yeah, that would look nice. Well, and then obviously I know this isn't going to happen, but as much as again I want him here in New England because there's a lot of question marks here, and but yeah, first going off what you're saying, that would truly create and it's at this point now an insane NFC West if you could somehow get Deshaun to the Niners. I think Stafford's a very good quarterback, and he'd be the worst one in that division at that point. Um, but yeah, I think that, and I didn't really throw this on there specifically, but because so much of it is just speculation at this point, but it does really wonder from a local perspective what the next step is for the Patriots. There's obviously a few different scenarios there. There's a lot of rumors about getting Garoppolo back if San Francisco either is able to swing Watson, or if they get Cousins from Minnesota, or do something else just to go in another direction at the quarterback position. So that's obviously an option. They have the number 15 pick. Is it Mac Jones? Is it someone else? Or are they able to figure out something we haven't even talked about so far?
I feel like they're just gonna do nothing. I'm very
I think
nervous.
they just bring back Cam.
That or Stidham. I don't know.
I agree with you. I could totally see it happening just because I it's gonna be some like I don't know. They're gonna go in a weird direction with that 15 pick. They're either gonna trade back or I did hear a name on Fox
Paramore.
Sports Radio. Yeah, that's one pick that I
Yeah,
wouldn't
we do
love
need
the
help on the
position.
we do
Yeah, I
need
wouldn't
help on the front seven. So
for sure. I mean, like so much of my brain is just focused on how inept the offense was last year. So I
yeah,
want to go for some sort of skill position there. But if we have to go off that, yeah, that guy's a beast. So I wouldn't completely hate that pick. But yeah, a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
question marks. Yeah, go ahead.
I guess I kind of want them to go there and just at receiver, pay, just pay.
Oh yeah, I'd get Galladay in here. Um, oh, one thing I do have to talk about here, and I know a lot of this gets overblown, but something I can't stand with draft analysis or whatever it might be, this idea that because you played the same position and come from the same school that you did the exact same thing, like the narrative that Justin Fields is going to be a bust because he's an Ohio State quarterback. And then I saw something today that um, just like, oh, what if Kyle Pitts dropped to 15? It's like, oh, a Florida tight end. Like, okay, yeah, that means he's a serial killer. Like, come on, let's. It only means like that was 10 years ago. Like what the system, like the people running the operation are completely, like so many things are completely different. So I know this people probably just being kind of dumb on the internet and not really believing that,
Yeah,
but just
well,
it reminded me of the quarterback narrative as well.
yeah, the old quarterback narrative that Big 12 quarterbacks couldn't play because it was all spread offense and no pro
Right.
style. Yeah, yeah. It was playing on Sunday, Texas Tech.
Exactly, and then not to mention you have
Kyler Baker,
Kyler who's been on the
Oklahoma.
upswing. Baker won a playoff game. So that's its own kind of storyline there. But yeah, I just saw that briefly today, and I was just like, if Kyle Pitts falls to 15, sign me up right now. I'll take
Oh,
it.
exactly.
I'm gonna assume he's not. I'm gonna trust him and assume he's not gonna go out and murder someone. So, um,
Bold
yeah,
call.
I would love. Yeah, I mean, if I'm wrong, then I will truly say never selected Florida tight end again. Then I'm with you. But but again, completely different organization going on down there 10 years ago. But so yeah, just some quick NFL notes there. Just want to lead in with that. Like I said, we'll have more of a preview there. We're going to be waiting for what happens the rest of the QB carousel after the Super Bowl does complete, and what the Patriots do. Because I think you're right. I think we could just end up with the same thing. Try to run it back. Maybe like you said, beef up the receiving core. That's not. I'm saying this is what I want them to do. I think they got to bring in someone who's not on the roster for quarterback. But
We're gonna
I
draft
agree. I could
as much as I liked him in college. We're gonna draft like Kellen Mond in like the 5th round, and
Ian Book. I mean, depending on who you bring in, I almost wouldn't hate that, but just like I don't know. Yeah, so we'll see. Waiting patiently to see what the Pats do with quarterback as well as the rest of the league, because again, there could be a lot of dominoes that fall. I just realized, Mike, I'm so mad at myself. I said I wanted to do the list of is this team's quarterback situation figured out. Maybe we'll do that down the line because I don't know. Like some moves could surprise us, but I don't know if too much will happen Super Bowl
yeah, I think we got a little time on that.
week.
Unless
Okay, so
we gotta get that before free agency, but I think it's like March 15th. So we got like a month.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, we'll get to that down the line. Just to kind of go through
Yeah, because I feel
some of
like
these quarter.
even like the trade happening like this Super Bowl week is shocking. Usually they kind of like wait till
Yeah,
they try to like because it won't be official until March.
right. Like yeah, if you look them up, they're both still in like Goff's still in LA and Stafford's still in the
So I
Lions.
think they try to like keep it under wraps until then. But
Yeah, Schefter got him.
hefty.
But yeah, so again, we kind of a shorter intro to football this week, and we'll get into some other sports here. But again, have a full preview for everyone on Saturday afternoon. We'll go over what we expect in the game, go over some fun prop bets. The Super Bowl prop bets are always a lot of fun. See what we have there, and again, just kind of preview what we'll have coming up on Sunday early evening there. Got a great show from the weekend coming up, and I'm excited about that. And yeah, we'll have just again a huge Super Bowl preview on Saturday. So for now, we'll kind of kick around some of the other leagues here. I want to start with some NBA here. Again, I mentioned before when I got that Stafford Goff news, I was watching the Celtics Laker game on Saturday night. It was one of those games where I didn't really know how to feel afterwards because if you look at it one way, you hung in there with the defending champs and you kept it real close. But the other time, that game was there for them to have down the stretch. So again, they lose 96-95, came down to the end there. Kemba really struggled. Again, he's still coming back from that injury. And obviously Smart, that was kind of a big storyline as well, got hurt there. But we'll get to both those in a sec. But again, Mike, not sure how much of the game you got to catch, but what were your overall thoughts?
I don't know. You gotta get more from Kemba. What was it 1 of
Mm-hmm.
11 from the field?
Yeah. Yeah.
He was an all-star
And
time last year, and he doesn't look same since his injury. He's had a couple since then.
yeah, he had some good games in the bubble
Yeah,
once he got to the playoffs. But again, yeah, there were moments there I think where obviously would like to get a bit of performance out of him there. And then kind of alternatively, if you look at, I mean, Brown and Tatum were giving you everything. They scored 58 points combined on Saturday night. Even Tice had a good game. I think he was kind of the third scorer in that game. And yeah, like you said,
Bob Williams had a good
Kemba,
game, right?
yeah, he chipped in 10. He had a couple of blocks in the defensive end. So you got something out of the big man position, which you're going to need against a team like the Lakers. With you're going to have to play a little bigger. I think they didn't start too big, but they definitely had a lot of lineups out there where it was Tyson, Robert Williams, a little bit of Tristan Thompson as well. But it seemed like I said Robert Williams kind of got a little bit more of the minutes. But yeah, Campbell, like you go back there, it's like I think he came in last year probably as entering the year, and I'd say even through most of the first half, their best player. and
Mhm.
he really was.
I think he
And I think
started
that's
the
two guys.
All-Star game. He was one of the top 10 players in
No,
the
he
league.
did.
Yeah.
He absolutely did. So I think it really took till maybe one of Tatum's big games right before the All Star break where he was starting to maybe surpass
Yeah, I think
Kemba.
he was, like, player of the week, like, the last week of February.
Yeah,
Then
because again, he had the big game against the Lakers on a Sunday afternoon, and then he also had the huge game against the Clippers. I think it was right before the All Star break, actually.
at home, yeah.
Uh, yeah. So he had a huge game then. So I think that's where he started
I
taking
think
a
on
more
that
lead.
same trip, like, against Portland, he was, like, unstoppable too.
Yeah. So
Same
that
trip
was
as the earlier trip in LA.
Yeah, so that was kind of his. That's when I think the table started to turn to him becoming the number one. But again, Kemba entered last year as the number one guy. Kind of had to take over. It's like, dude, now you're number three. Now that's all we need you to
Mhm.
do. Which I think he's fine with. I don't think it's an ego thing at all. It's just, well, you got to hit these shots when they're there. And like I said, 1 of 11. And it's funny though because when he started his first few games back from injury, I noticed he was shooting the ball well. His movement. I mean, I didn't pay too close attention to that, but it looked like he was shooting the three pretty well, and he didn't have it on Saturday night at all. And I think a lot of people were kind of complaining because I kind of want to break down the last play there. They obviously had a good play on the defensive end. It looked like towards the end of the game they were really starting to slip away a little, and I thought the game was out of hand with about 2 minutes left.
Mhm.
But they made a good comeback. I think Tatum and Brown made some good plays on the stretch.
Ojeleye had some good defensive stops.
Yeah, no, yeah, he was again was smart out. He took his spot. It was pretty much the starting five, but then Shemi slid in there for Marcus after the injury. But so yeah, that's also a good point there. But again, they made a good defensive stand. I was thinking the Lakers were going to score and that we were going to need a three to tie the game, set it to overtime. But they actually got a stop. Then it got a little crazy because at first glance, I'm like, yeah, run. Don't call a timeout. The Lakers are back there. But then the very first pass gets knocked away. It ends up with Ojeleye in the corner. At that point, I do wish Brad called the timeout because it got very strange.
Yeah, so they tried to get it to Brown, and then he was
Yeah,
able to corral and dribble out because Caruso played great D. He got back.
he did. Yeah,
He was like the fastest guy. Like I think when the pass got thrown, you can see he was probably like
yeah,
third or fourth in the back of the mix, but he was
yeah.
neck and neck with Brown. He was the fastest guy getting back on D. So I think once we saw like Brown got forced to the corner and like he had to throw the law pass to Ojeleye, which he gave it to Kemba, I think
Mhm.
before he did the law pass, I would have called timeout to slow things down. Like I know they're a great defensive team, especially on one set play, but Tatum wasn't
You have
even involved.
options.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tatum wasn't
exactly. Yeah,
involved.
and there's a couple things I want to go off of there because at the end of the day, as much as I did want them to call that timeout, um, they got a good look. And at
Yeah,
the end of the day, Kemba's got to hit that, and he always does. And I didn't appreciate people online kind of going after Kemba there, like, oh, I had no confidence I was going in. It's like you're talking about cardiac Kemba here. I
yeah.
think even last year for the Celtics, I'm not even going completely back to UConn. He made some big shots for this team, so I don't necessarily hate him taking a big shot there. It's just one he has to hit. Like again, it's one that he usually does hit. So I'm not like I saw people saying like what I expected there. It was like nothing. Like I expected to miss that. I did. I mean, maybe given that specific night, yeah, but I don't think Kemba from that mid-range fadeaway. I think that's a great shot and a good look that you're going to get. But at the same time, um, actually, no. First, before we move on, is that like a fair assessment there? I think Kemba's made good shots since he's been in Boston.
Yeah, I was even say you can go back to his last year in Charlotte. I remember
Yeah,
it was like they're both in different teams now, but it was like the Nets and the Hornets and him and D'Angelo were going back and forth. It was unbelievable. I
yeah,
think D'Angelo ended up getting the W in that game, but
yeah.
I do trust him with a shot. I mean, even then I was kind of like, oh, it would be perfect. He goes 1 of 10 and he hits his 11th shot, but it just wasn't in the cards for him that night. So
No,
again,
and
I agree with you. I would have called timeout, but they ended up getting a good look. I wouldn't say it bunny, but it was a solid look.
yeah. So for sure, I think that again, I think the idea was there at the beginning where
Yeah. Yeah. So you got to run.
just to run it out, but it just got too weird. Like I said, you did end up getting a good shot up, but again, I still would have liked the timeout there. And another thing too, I don't want to completely blame him because I don't know if he would have had time for this anyway, but it did seem like Tatum wasn't exactly hustling to get to the front court there.
I couldn't see him on the screen.
Exactly. Like I don't know if he was expecting Brad to call a timeout, but
Yeah.
there was more time. There was like 5 or 6 seconds. I think he could have got back into that play if he wanted to. I think it would have ended the same way, maybe.
It
But
would have had to be like a
it, re-
trailing three. Like Kemba would have had to like dump it and hopefully like
yeah, it really limited their options because they had three guys in the front court, and it looked like again Jalen was pretty well covered. And they found Kemba. Like I said, it was a good shot. I got a good look at the end of the day, but I don't know. I would like to see him at least get back into the front court there.
Mhm.
So obviously, again, that's not how it broke down. Another kind of close loss. It was two in a row because the heartbreaker in San Antonio as well. The Marcus Smart missed three, but uh, one thing that could have gone really bad out of this game, I saw that Smart injury, and I was getting some Kevin Durant flashbacks from the finals in
Achilles,
2019. I thought I saw something snap, almost like
a pop.
the map in school where you let it go and it flies
Mhm.
up, or like a something on the on the windows. But I thought the Achilles popped, and then again they obviously found out it was a calf strain, and it's
Mhm.
gonna be I think about 2 to 3 weeks, so pretty much through the All-Star break, whether we have one or not, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But again, I think fortunate if you're a Celtics fan that Smart won't be out for too long. I do almost like it because I'm not one of these guys that you're better off without Smart. I'm never going to say that, but I'm hoping that it gives maybe Kemba more time to gel with the Jays here and kind of be the main facilitator there, get him back into a groove, and then once he's there, insert Smart back in, and now you have your full roster.
Yeah, like, I think over the course of the year, it is kinda nice when not that injuries stink, but, like, when a player misses a couple games is actually kind of is good for them in the long run as long as they're
Mm-hmm.
healthy in the playoffs. Because I
Yeah.
think this way Kemba can shoot out of his slump because he's gonna get more looks, more volume with Smart out of the game. Then maybe
Mm-hmm.
free up some minutes because again, we're looking for bench scoring. So maybe if we
Yeah.
with Pritchard still out, whether it's Edwards or Neesmith, if we can just give them more minutes, give them more shots, and they can prove themselves. I know, like, I feel like they might feel pressure if they get into a game right now with their limited chances. They might try to force stuff, especially Edwards. Like, if he gets in
Mm-hmm.
the floor, he'll just start jacking up stuff. Or Neesmith will just be in the corner. He's like, if I'm in this corner, take the shot, take the shot. But if they just get to consistent minutes in the next 2 weeks, maybe they can get something going.
Yeah. So I think you're gonna see, and that's something too. We've talked about it before. The Celtics rotation's still very much up in the air right now with what's going on, but um, yeah, we'll see. Like you mentioned before, Pritchard will be back soon. And you can kind of see how that goes. But that brings up another point. I think I kind of mentioned it last time. Wanting JJ Redick, and I don't know. They've been rumored there with the Pelicans. I do wonder now because I'm wondering because that's going to cut into that play trade exception, right? So that's the only thing kind of giving me pause now. Like I don't know if because Redick hasn't been having a good year from what I've read.
Yeah, I still don't know what that means. Like, and we can only use it this year, so like, I think it's
Is
like
that is that right? I thought we could use in the offseason.
at the
I,
end.
I I don't know. Yeah, there's all these things.
I know you
Again, the
should be knowing this. We're talking about it, but I just
no, but I think there's plenty of people who don't. There's all these weird exceptions, like again that wave and stretch thing. I don't know what that means
what does it
either.
mean?
It's just wait. What did you say?
So what does this even mean?
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of it's a lot of terminology in the NBA. All these salary cap rules, all this stuff. I don't fully understand it, but yeah, if it's something we have to use by the end of the year, sure. But um, yeah, I would definitely be careful of maybe I don't want to say wasting it on JJ Redick, but again, he's a guy that's into his mid-30s now, and if he's not shooting the ball well, I mean that's literally all they need him for. So if he's struggling there, kind of be weary. It's definitely gonna be one of those things though that because who the other teams rumored was it Philly and Brooklyn?
Yeah, I think he's probably just gonna have in Brooklyn.
Well, it's one of those things too. If the Celtics trade for him, it's going to be, well, why'd you waste the trade exception on a 35-year-old? Then if you don't, it's going to be, well, there's another guy the Celtics were in on and didn't. So it seems like kind of they're a little screwed either way,
I think I
based
saw
on
it,
what they
like
did there.
I think I saw like his girlfriend like lives in Brooklyn.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, ugh, that
Well,
team.
Corey Kluber's girlfriend's from Winchester, and he's in the
I
Yankees. So
did. On the Yankees. We'll do a flip flop there. Um, but I did want to. Uh, I got the highlights on still. I just watched the Baylor Texas game, and now they're showing Purdue Maryland. Got a little crazy at the end here. So we're trying to get, I think, bring a little bit more of some live reactions out here
yeah.
to get more of a TV setup as we watch. And Maryland held on there. So against Purdue. So we'll get some college hoops in a little bit, but Maryland able to hold off 24th ranked Purdue. But yeah, so as we, again, just kind of talking more about the Celtics. Yeah, these guys could have anywhere. And I actually didn't make a note of this, but I also, well, to kind of wrap up the Celtics first. So again, 2 losses in a row, but now they start a 5-game West Coast swing that begins tonight in Golden State. I think at the beginning of the year, people thought this team was going to be absolutely terrible. Don't say they had two like really lopsided losses to start the year, but they've kind of leveled off a little bit. I don't think they're in the playoff picture or anything, but they're not as bad as I thought they were going to be.
Well, I mean, everyone going into the year before the Thompson injury thought that they were going to be like a top 3 team. But I mean, I think they're the same record as us. We're 10-8 and they're 11-9. So
Okay, are they in the playoff hunt now? I thought I looked at the standings today and I couldn't.
yeah, they're the
couldn't
7th
remember.
seed.
They are 7. Okay. So yeah, kind of right on the cusp
Well, I
there.
mean, Curry's having an MVP type season, and
He really has. Yeah.
Wiseman is kind of it's early on. It's the running between him, Halliburton, and Ball for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
I think he actually might be the favorite, despite the fact that Halliburton and Ball won the Rookies of the Month for December/January today.
But he was kind of better over the 2 months.
Yeah, I think he's just starting to hit a stride. Like I think he had like
Yeah.
25 points the other night.
He just got injured though, didn't he? I thought I saw that the other day.
I was looking at
I
the
think he's
box.
gonna be out for. I don't think it's anything serious, but I
Yeah.
think he's gonna be. I think he's out for a little bit. But
Well, that'll be good for the Celtics. I mean, actually, no, we have the bodies for him. I'm just so used to the Celtics not being good against big guys, but now that we actually have bodies for it.
yeah, I'm still not sold though because it's like I feel like our best defender is
Same.
is Tristan, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't love him out there right now. It's been kind of I think that the two big signings though, Teague's been a major disappointment, and Thompson's been a little better, but also kind of a disappointment too. I think it's just one of those things like, are we gonna see Rob Williams break out a little bit? Because I think that's gonna be a key on the defensive end. Because I think Tice has looked good on the offensive end. So if you can kind of play those two off each other there, then I think you might have something.
Yeah, I think he will. I mean, I'm all in a Bob right now. I think he should be getting a majority of the minutes. Oh,
yeah.
Next to Tice. I think Tice should be in the starting rotation and should get most of the crunch.
He should be the starter. Yeah, Tice should be. I think. And
energy get off the bench when he comes in. Then I think he should be getting more minutes over Thompson right now.
Yeah, I agree. Tristan hasn't. I mean, he's like getting the rebounds. He's getting put up the numbers there, but I don't know. Something's missing there. But yeah, 5-game West Coast swing starts tonight. Against Golden State. I know they play. It's got kind of a tight schedule. I think they also play Thursday and Friday. Sacramento, and then the Clippers on Friday night. So that should be a good one. And then they seemingly always seem to play in this Super Bowl Sunday matinee. Something they seem to always find themselves in. It's weird. I got kind of thrown off because I think it's a 2 p.m. start in Phoenix, which you just never see. I mean, it makes sense because they're only 2 hours away, so it's a noon tip off. But I was like, wait, it's at 2 p.m. and I'm like, almost in Boston. I was like, wait, no, but they're on a 5-game swing. So anyway, but yeah, so that'll start tonight. Kind of going around the rest of the league here. I know we briefly talked about some of the rookies. I did want to briefly talk about the Nets. I didn't have that in the notes as well, but and it'll kind of lead into my first topic here. But did you see that stat about Brooklyn? Since I don't know if it's since the Harden trade or since all three have been playing, but they have the number one offensive efficiency rating in the NBA, and it would be the best of all time if that was like a season. They have the worst defensive rating in the league since then, and it would be the worst of all time if this kept up. They've been putting up points and letting their opponents do pretty much the same.
And if you watch their games, it's pretty much a track meet. Like especially that
the All-Star game, essentially.
Yeah, especially the game on Sunday. I think what was it, 147 to 146.
Yeah, and that's another point I want to get to. So I think we're kind of getting what a lot of people expected from this new team that was kind of forming here, and that being we're going to see a lot of points, but what's the defense going to be like? Because it's I think Durant's by far the best defender in this lineup. Maybe the big man that they're starting, if it's DeAndre Jordan, that might be a little bit different. But other than that, though, I think again it's clearly Durant because Harden and Kyrie are guys not known for their defense, but Sorry, we're doing a lot of this live game. Like to see Tennessee Ole Miss, 51-50 now with 3.5 left. I had to bring it up my phone because I lost my remote. I do want to get up and find that.
I think Ole Miss is going to pull it out.
I'm clearly behind you then. So,
my screen froze. I'm not connected. I'm in my room without the cable. So,
well,
following game
anyway, I'll keep an eye on that. But anyway, but yeah. So there were two insane comebacks this weekend, and our girl Rachel Nichols kind of broke it down in more detail how often it's been the case where teams up 5 with 10 seconds left. It's like 23,000 times since like the last 25 years that the team winning has won the game, and it's been like 9 that the team losing
Mhm.
won the game. Twice it happened this weekend.
Yeah.
So first it was Portland and Chicago, and basically Dame time is what happened.
I get
He
that.
hit the three to uh cut them within 2, and there was, I can't remember, was it a turnover that
It was a
happened? Did they
jump
steal
ball.
the
I
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they tied him up in the corner. It was what's his name? I'm blanking. Gary Trent.
mm,
Gary Trent tied him up in the corner, and then they got the ball back, won the tip off, or got the, I mean, they led the
jump
jump.
ball.
So they got the tip off, and then they get it to Dame. And I think I texted you this like when we saw it happen, or got the alert that happened. I said, if I had one player in the league to hit a buzzer beater for me, it's Dame. There's better players than Dame for sure, uh, and maybe certain situations. But if I need a big shot at the game of the line, I'm going with Dame because he's showed at the playoffs, and then even now on Saturday, just another example of how cold blooded he is.
Yeah. So I can't believe. I mean, you can pull it from anywhere and hit it. I mean, you saw it there. You saw it. The bass shot against Paul George. You
the
saw it.
the bad shot.
Saw the clincher even back in like I think 2013 against Houston.
2014, yeah, against the Dwight the Rockets.
So he definitely shows that he can get it
Yeah,
in accounts. Like I mean, the only person I can't mind was probably LeBron, just because he was LeBron. I think,
LeBron's just so weird though because I feel like again he's not the best shooter, but and he has, I guess, but like that shot in 2009 against Orlando when he's with Cleveland, and almost did pull it off. Tennessee had a shot at a 3-pointer there at the buzzer, and they almost won the game though, but almost holds off number 13 or number 12 rather, Tennessee. Or actually, it might have been 11. I can't tell. I got my vision. I looked really quick, but anyway, I know we're kind of bouncing around here, but yeah, I'd say yeah, Bron's the because besides 2009, that big shot he hit against the Magic of the playoffs is just like I can't picture him taking because even AD he hit that. He's the one that hit that one in the playoffs.
I'm picturing the dickhead shot against the Raptors.
Ah, you're right. Yeah, that was Was that at the buzzer? I don't even know. But
That was the
that's the thing with LeBron. It's like it would almost have to be like a
well,
like that was kind of like a run and gun.
it,
Like I don't know if you come out like a half court set. I don't know.
yeah, if it's a jump shot, I definitely want Dame. I was thinking more of just like,
Right.
okay, it's a tie game. Like they just hit a three
Yeah.
to like tie it, and there's 20
Yeah.
seconds left. Like we're not calling timeout. Let's just
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, that was just an early thought I had there. And then it happened again. So this was Sunday night now. And I think there's these certain games, no matter how much Russ is struggling, he just like if he needs to get up for a game, he does it. And I think he had red in his eyes, going up against KD and Harden, his former teammates in Oklahoma City. He's now in Washington with Bradley Beal. So that's another one. It was I can't even remember the exact scores. I think it was 146, 141 or something like that. Anyways, a 5-point
yeah.
deficit. Bradley Beal has the ball. It's under 10 seconds. Pulls up, hits the three. Then they pressure the inbounds pass. And who was it on Washington? I can't remember. It was I don't think it was Bertans. There's another white guy.
Yeah.
Ended up stealing the pass into the corner, kicks it out to Russ, who's really been cold from three as of late in his career. Just absolutely drills it. So Beal, Russ go back to back in the final 10 seconds to go up by one. Brooklyn and Kevin Durant unable to put up the shot to win the game on the other end, and the Wizards win. So again, just another crazy game that we saw, another crazy ending with teams down by 5 points with less than 10 seconds left.
Yeah, I think the Wizards ended up scoring like 135 points in like the last like 40 minutes of the game. So I think
because they didn't have a good first quarter.
Yeah, I think they only had like 13 points with like 2.5 minutes left in the first quarter. So it's pretty insane run they won.
Right. And then also I think another thing that was throwing me off because I think I was watching the highlights. I was getting very confused. The Wizards are wearing some like gray alternate, and then the Nets are wearing their like blue and white. So I kept thinking for a brief second I thought the teams were reversed. It was very, very confusing.
Yeah, it takes a little bit to get used to these new alternate jerseys.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, two crazy comebacks there. I also wanted to make a side note. I've been kind of reading the bottom line here. Fred VanVleet is 52 points right now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so A guy that got paid this offseason to get undrafted out of Wichita State. But yeah, Freddie V is going off right now for the Raptors. Just saw that kind of scroll across the bottom line, so I want to make a note there. Also, the big game right now, the Celtics are kind of the second half of the TNT doubleheader right now. And again, two of the better teams in the league right now, Clippers and Nets are on the early game. Brooklyn's up. It looks like 3 points as of right now. So again, another marquee game in the league right now. We'll see, potential finals matchup maybe if they're able to kind of dethrone LeBron and the Nets run through. That's always fun to say partway through the year when you have a good East versus West game. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that one. And then I kind of wanted to wrap up as far as NBA goes with the talk of the All-Star game. I know we mentioned an All-Star break coming up, and they're obviously going to be voting on the All-Stars. But there's been questions about whether there was going to be a game or not. There's been talk about setting it up in Atlanta, and it seems like we're heading in that direction. And I don't know, it's definitely controversial because of obviously everything going on with COVID. So I don't know, I'm kind of torn on it because again, that's something that do we really need it? I mean, I'll certainly watch it if it happens because I think those things are kind of fun. But yeah, kind of a weird spot right now as far as the All Star game goes.
Yeah, I think if anything, because it's going to be a shortened season, it's a shortened season. There's a lot of cancellations. I'm surprised they didn't just power through a weekend, or even just like giving them a couple of nights off, because it's going to go right
Mm-hmm.
from bubble to kind of like a 2 month off season to a new season. I
Yeah,
think even if they wanted to give them like a week off, just to like decompress, it would be kind of nice instead of having to fly to
isolate. Yeah,
Atlanta. So I don't know. Like again, I'm gonna watch it, but I probably
yeah. I don't know. I'm going back and forth because it's like part of me is like I don't think they've done the best job anyway. Like you're still flying all over the country, and I know you're gonna have a lot more teams in the mix, a lot more representations. That I know that complicates it even more. But I'm just part of me is like you're flying all over the place all the time anyway. I don't think you're doing the best job. Like it's not like you're in this or you have like mini bubbles or even what the NHL's doing where you have 4 mini divisions and now out of nowhere you're going to be. It's like I think these teams are crossing paths all the time. We have 30 teams kind of flying around the country. So
I think otherwise,
um,
scheduling wise, but there's gonna be more postponements, and like
yeah,
you're gonna be eating up off
yeah.
days. Like maybe just giving them some time to either take away an off day to play a game, or just give them a couple times to rest after the jam-packed
Yeah.
schedule they've been on.
We'll see though. It seems like they do. If this does happen, they'll definitely have some of the competition still there, which would be fun. So again, not sure if it's the best COVID wise, but I don't know. It's a weekend that I know that both of us really enjoy, especially in our younger days. But so it would be fun to have that there. But I would totally understand if it couldn't happen for safety reasons. But I don't know. It seems like we're heading in that direction. Um, yeah, so just kind of a note there. We'll see if that happens. It would be slated for March 7th if it does go off. So it's typically President's Day weekend, but obviously with the later start, got pushed back. And that's something actually. A quick side tangent here. That's always been kind of a weekend that I've really enjoyed. Is that it's on President's Day weekend. It's I think a day that I used to have off all the time. I have floating holidays now, so I usually take it off. Yeah, with the GF having it off from her work. So it's a day that I would take off. And I usually really liked that weekend as a whole. So I've gone back and forth, and I think I would get over it because I do think it would be really fun if we did see the Super Bowl eventually move there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Pushed back 2 weeks. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've always been kind of like, no, that's NBA weekend. That's what it should be. But part of me, I'm just like, oh, having a
Scheduling's
NBA
never going to
season.
be the same now. So
What's that
scheduling won't be the same now, just after all this.
for the NBA?
Just NBA, NHL. Like I
Do
feel
you
like
think it'll end up being a like for years to come? It'll be even a little bit later. Like it would be closer to like a
yeah,
early mid
like a
March.
July to August finals. So
Yeah. So yeah, if that's going to go away, then yeah, please slide the NFL in there because that's the one bad thing about having the 6:40 kickoff on a Sunday is yeah, obviously not having the next day off of work. So I would yeah, if the NBA is going to be moving off that, NFL slide right in. If they're going to be adding an extra week, add an extra bye week, push us to that President's Day weekend. So I think that'd be a lot of fun. But yes, that'll wrap it up for the NBA for now. Just wanted to get a little bit of college hoops. So I know we're kind of live watching some right now. But wanted to get in just a quick recap of what happened over the weekend. Again, getting a little bit more into the college hoop game as we're getting closer to the tournament. Couple big matchups from the weekend, Mike. I know you said Virginia Tech able to take down the, I guess, defending champs, even though it was 2 years ago now in Virginia Cavaliers.
yeah, I was pretty shocked by that with the I think they've had some Virginia Tech's had some injury issues, and I think they
Hmm.
suspended one of their guards, like starting guard. So Virginia was kind of peaking. I know they had like a tough loss early in the year. I think San
Yeah.
Francisco, but that was a good win for them at home, taking down their in-state rival.
Yep. And then the other one, it's been kind of a weird year for these blue blood programs. We've seen again Duke, Kentucky, and North Carolina all unranked. Michigan State's falling as well. Teams that we've seen in the mix or in the Final Four these past decade, 2 decades at least since we've been watching. So weird to not have them in the mix. And then we see Tennessee take down Kansas. So another one of these teams here. Kansas probably the best of that bunch, but still they go down to a Tennessee team. So we're really seeing a lot of
Tennessee
the
lost
little
tonight.
guys, if you will. What's that?
Tennessee lost tonight.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So again, I still wish we got to see again. I really do miss that. I'm really upset we didn't get to see last year's tournament because I wanted to see what like Dayton could do and like a lot of those teams. I think it would have been real fun to watch. But I think we're gonna have just maybe not as much chaos this year because I think that's the thing that we had last year was like here's 15 teams that can all win. This year it's a lot less blue bloods, but it does seem like again Baylor and Gonzaga are kind of pulling away from the pack a little bit. So even though we're not getting the traditional schools up here, it seems like a bit more of a foregone conclusion than we would have had last year.
Yeah, I still think it's going to be an equally as mad March Madness. With
I'm hoping, yeah.
yeah, because I mean, even just the volatility in the rankings, like
Yeah.
Oklahoma shot up like 15 spots.
Yeah, and that's something I wanted to hit on as well. So Texas Tech, Oklahoma, that's a game I was able to watch at least most of last night. And kind of going into the game, it was both teams had a very interesting weekend. Oklahoma, again, we talked about typically a football game, the Kyler versus Tua matchup from a few years ago. But Oklahoma played Bama in basketball and were able to come out of that with a victory. And they jumped up 15 spots. They were 24th and went all the way up to 9th for this week's poll.
Two
And then
top 10 wins
Texas,
in a week.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Because who was that? That's right. Who
They
did they beat
played
early in the week?
Texas on Tuesday, who fell to Baylor.
Oh, yeah. The Red River rivalry. So
Yeah.
they beat up on a lot of the typically football schools. But so yeah, those two wins catapulted them into the top 10 into number 9 ranking. And then Texas Tech, they were down late against LSU. And again, something you see definitely more in the college game versus the NBA, but they were able to come back and get a huge win over the Tigers.
Mm-hmm.
So that set up an interesting matchup last night for 13th ranked Texas Tech and 9th ranked Oklahoma. I wish I could say it was a good game, but it was disgusting. The field goal percentage, I don't think either team got out of the 30s. There was some better shooting later for Texas Tech as they were able to kind of pull out the game there against Oklahoma, but a lot of clanks on the rim that I heard last night, but a close game for sure.
Yeah, I do like Texas Tech a lot this year because they've proved they can put up
My
points.
team.
They're resilient down the end. It seems like anytime you need a bucket, Mac McClung can pull it out. The Georgetown transfer.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and he didn't even score. I don't think he didn't know he scored, but I don't think he made a field goal last night.
Yeah, he does have a couple off nights, but he was able to grind
Yeah.
it out and help his team get the victory. So he's the leader they need on the court. And
Yeah,
I do expect
McCullough was
their
their
chair.
yeah. McCullough looks like their best guy last night.
Shannon's good too.
Yeah, no, yeah, but he was like I said, he was the big scorer last night. Yeah, Texas Tech. I know I mentioned my story about that future that I almost did 2 years ago, and I've kind of been big on the Chris Beard bandwagon ever since. So yeah, Texas Tech's kind of become my adopted team since I don't know when BC basketball is ever going to be relevant again. They've had their bout with COVID this year. I'm almost thinking they should just run the season out, get a new coach, and start over. But that's my quick little side tangent on BC. But yeah, they were able to pull out the victory last night against Oklahoma. I was telling you last night, I kept doing a double take. I said I see 24 with I think kind of like the fade haircut in Oklahoma. I was having Buddy Hield flashbacks from 5 years ago. But yeah, again, the Red Raiders able to pull that one out in a Big 12 matchup there. The other Big 12 matchup happened tonight with number 2 Baylor versus number 6 Texas. And again, close for a while, but Baylor showing why. Again, they're the number 2 team in the country.
Yeah, it's down to the bitterness Gonzaga and Baylor right now. Can't believe that we got robbed of that regular season matchup earlier this year, but
I know.
It's been hard to judge Texas this year because they're one of the best teams in the country to start, but then they lost at home to Texas Tech, and since then it's kind of been a lot of close wins. Then they had a battle with COVID. Now
they've had the COVID problems.
This is the first time they had their full roster back, and like they've only practiced like once, so was a tough match, tough timing to play Baylor, but I do
Right,
expect them to
right.
kind of get their stuff back on track. They need to hit free throws. Like
Yeah.
they're a long athletic team that can hit threes, but anytime like their big guys get fouled, I feel like it's clank clank back on D.
Yeah, exactly. Um, but yeah, so that was the big game tonight. I'm also seeing because I think Michigan and Villanova, they're also in that the top five as well. I think they're teams that could maybe down the stretch they have that, especially Villanova because they have Jay Wright who's kind of been there, done that. See if they do that on the stretch. Michigan's been there as of late, but obviously new coaching staff with Jawan Howard, so I've
Mhm.
seen them up there as well. And then again, a lot of these Big 12 teams we've mentioned before. It's going to be interesting to see again. Like you said, how the tournament shakes up, and hopefully we see some madness going on there. Also, I just saw come across the bottom line. Iowa, number 8, able to hold off Michigan State 84-78. So, again, another loss for Michigan State. We'll see if they can somehow sneak into the tournament. But it's crazy.
I think they're gonna need a conference win. I think a lot of these
Yeah,
teams, like especially them in Kentucky, are gonna need some
yeah.
conference tournament luck.
It's funny because last 2 years I've made a trip to the Twin River Casino on Super Bowl Eve, and something that I think always lines up there is the second Duke North Carolina game, and it's strange because that's happening this Saturday at the same time. I think 6 o'clock.
Yeah, it's usually
Neither.
Super Bowl. It's usually Super Bowl week, and then the second one is the last week of the regular season.
Oh, that's the first one. Sorry,
Yeah,
I misspoke. One of two rather, and then yeah, so that's usually a huge matchup. But neither team's ranked. I think this is the first time since 1960, so 61 years
yeah, because
since
usually at least one team's good. Usually Duke, but
yeah. So been that long uh, since neither team's been ranked in a Duke North Carolina matchup. So again, the kind of again these blue bloods they kind of have some of the wind out of their sails there. I can't even. Oh, it's killing me. They mentioned someone who was playing on that North Carolina team last time it happened, and it was someone obviously really old now, but it was funny to think about. I'll have to track down who that was, but yeah. So again, not quite the same magic we see there. But again, we'll see in coming weeks and see what happens with conference tournaments. I did read an interesting tweet from Rothstein today saying that like it's against the bylaws if that there is a tournament for a team to opt out of it. So I don't know what that.
you froze. Technical difficulties, everyone.
Yeah, apologies there. I don't even know where I left off. I was kind of in the middle of a thing there. We'll see what happens with March Madness. I was just saying,
Against
Rothstein
the
mentioned something
bylaws.
about. Yeah. So I don't know. It's gonna be strange. I'll have to get more info for that as we get closer to the tournament. But yeah, they're pretty much due for college hoops again. We'll kind of track that in the coming weeks as we get closer to the tournament. I know that's where my eyes are going to turn once the Super Bowl's over. Uh, Obviously, a lot of fun, and we didn't get one last year. So even if it's going to be weird this year, at least we have one. So
Mhm.
looking forward to that. Just want to wrap up with a couple more items here. Just a quick Bruins or really NHL as a whole talk. I didn't really catch this game last night. Again, I'm still mad at YouTube TV. Just the whole Nesson situation. I have ways to watch. It's just not as it's more annoying than if it was just on my YouTube TV. But anyway, uh, Bruins had a tough loss on Saturday night, kind of in conjunction with the Celtics around very similar times. They were lost in. They were able to force overtime, but Ovechkin ended that quickly. And again, we're seeing a lot of these 2-game sets in the NHL. So they had another matchup last night, and they're up 3-0. So I think a lot of people thought that game was over, and they stormed all the way back and won that game 5-3. So really seeing a lot of fight out of the Bruins early on.
Yeah, I think they were down 3-1 on Saturday too. In fact, like they're able to eke out a point when I feel like they were getting
Yeah.
absolutely dominated in the first half of that game. Was a
Mhm.
as good as a moral victory can be, and then kind of more of the same. Got down early. Char scored against them, and then they were able to
Yeah.
score five and answer to win. So that it's good to see a lot of resilience. I'm like what I'm seeing on this Bruin team. I think the Capitals are one of the best teams in the league going into that series.
For
So if they're
sure. Yeah.
able to get 3 points out of 2 games in Washington, that's a resounding success.
That's true too, because I always thought like, oh, you split the 2 games, but hockey, yeah, if you force overtime, yeah, 3 points, so you only missed out on 1 point there in 2 games. So, yeah, definitely, because the Caps are a force and very good team. Like it's the top of their division at the moment. And I think they're going to be a team that will go deep once the playoffs roll around. So, obviously you'd like to avoid these shaky starts in the game, but again, able to come back, I think is a huge sign, showing you're not going to lay down if you go down early against the team. So huge that they were able to come back in last night's game. And again, I think we're going to see, hopefully they're able to sustain this level of success on kind of all phases of the game here. And then just news that kind of came across today: the Sabres, kind of the next 3 games postponed. I think the Devils and Knights are also going through that. So COVID's starting to hit the NHL a little bit. I know we saw it early on in the NBA, but starting to see it kind of shift over towards the NHL at the moment.
Yeah, I feel like it's just kind of part of playing in 2020 to 2021. Just going to be a lot of last second schedule changes, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
just games canceled. It comes with the
Yeah,
territory.
right. And like I said, obviously I think once football's over too, we'll especially shift our gears more towards the hockey and basketball scene. So we'll dig a little bit deeper there. But just kind of wanted to give a quick Bruins minute there, just
Mhm.
to say what they did against Washington. And again, I think it's gonna be a tight division between again them, the Caps, and then both Pennsylvania teams. It'll be really a struggle kind of going down the end of the season to see who comes up on top there, who has to fight for wild card positions there. So but yeah, that's pretty much all I had there. I did kind of want to just take a quick look here as I'm looking. So it looks like they're staying on the road here. They'll have 2 games in Philadelphia.
Mhm.
One tomorrow night. That'll be looks like nationally televised too on NBC Sports, and then another matchup on Friday night as well against the Flyers. And the Bruins are actually two of those games for the Sabres, so they've already been postponed. So it looks like the Bruins are going to have a little bit of time off. Actually, not even that much time. It looks like they were kind of jam packed anyway. They're going to be game Friday, and then they'll be playing Wednesday against the Rangers. So a little bit of a break there in the schedule now with these postponements for the Bruins here. But also wanted to wrap up with a few items here. First, in MLB. Uh, I was like, oh, we don't have much there. And I completely forgot yesterday. Huge news broke for the Red Sox here. So it's something that I think was a long time coming, but the guy just kept trying and trying and trying to come back. And it just really hasn't worked out the last 3 years, really. If you take away last year, even, I think it was a total of 9 games played since 2018 on. That's Dustin Pedroia. Called it a career yesterday, officially retired. And again, it's tough because it almost seems like he's been gone these last few years because he hasn't really played. He wasn't really any part of that 2018 team. I think he played 6 games that year. But again, one of the all-time greats for the Red Sox, specifically calling it a career, and he did truly mean so much to this organization.
Yeah, 3 World Series titles, and Rookie of the Year and MVP. And even though I think he's had 9 games, only like 30 at bats in the last 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
he definitely took
He
his
tried.
he tried his rehab like he did everything on his field. He left it all in the field and he left it all on the rehab table to try to get back. But I think it just came down to quality of life. Where
Mm-hmm.
after all that knee replacements, he realized it was impossible. So
Yeah, and he's 37 now. Go home, spend time with the wife and kids, and he's someone that I think he would be a great coach too if he wants to down the line. I think he would
mhm.
be a great manager down the line. So obviously, I think he should take some time now. Again, he's been working so hard, he's been working his ass off to get back on the field, and it ended up being impossible to get that knee replacement as well. So really bad. But again, he's truly. I mean, if you really think about from these World Series teams, I mean, obviously the big 3 that you look at, especially early on in the century, is Ortiz, Ramirez, and Pedro.
Mhm.
And I mean, even Schilling for what he did in the postseason, but I think as far as long-term careers go, I think he's the next on the list. I think just again, he was a big part of 2 championship teams, which really only Ortiz could say 2 plus really, because
Mhm.
he was a part of 3 of them. But again, Manny and I guess Manny was part of 2 as well. So really, just 3 of them as far as winning multiple championships
Chilling.
with the Red Sox. Schilling was in 07. I always forget because he was that the year you kind of like pitched in relief.
Yeah, I think he had some good postseason innings. I think he ended up like starting a couple games, but it was kind of like a derailed season that he kind of came
Okay.
with a lesson.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that kind of put Game 7 out of reach in the
Hmm.
ALCS back in '07.
Right.
Was an integral part of the lineup in 2013, and
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of was
And
I think was a good clubhouse presence, kind of like a second manager with core.
right. Exactly. And didn't he find something in Price's mechanics too.
Yeah, I think
Like
that like
stuff like that.
either like 16 or 17, he was able to pick something up on film. So again,
I might have. I think it was 18. Honestly,
I don't know. I
when
thought that
Price
was
kind
like
of.
a John Farrell, like nothing mechanical type of thing.
No, no, no. But I'm saying I think that's like almost what got Price like out of his slump, or you know
Mhm.
what I mean. Like when he showed up in 18, I think a lot of it was stuff Pedroia was seeing on film. So
Yeah. So
again, just shows the makings of a good manager there. He's a guy. I mean, like I know some people are making this argument. I just don't think he was able to do enough to make the MLB Hall of Fame. Again, for All Star. I mean, he had a good
uh,
peak for sure.
yeah, I think he should be like the guy you see at the end of the ballot for a couple years, like kind of kick around at like the 5, 10% threshold. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Stay on the ballot a few years, but I mean, first ballot Red Sox Hall of Famer for sure. I think you could even debate getting 15 retired just because,
I think you should, because I think like
yeah,
how many
not
Red
to
Sox
turn into the
how many Red
Celtics or
Sox can
anything,
say
but
that? I mean, how many Red Sox can say they won 3 World Series titles?
yeah, and I don't even think they're being too loose with it because if you think about, I mean, they didn't have much to show for
86 years,
86
I had
years there, and then now, I mean, if you look at guys that were just added since then, it's been only Ortiz and Pedro
Yeah,
who've won World Series. So,
and
and
even like
clearly, sorry, go
if
ahead.
you want to think of like, it's easier to win the World Series now for the Red Sox. The only guy that's left over from 13 now is Xander. So
Right, I was gonna say the longest tenured,
even
yeah.
if we do win another one, let's say is we're not going to as early as next year, like only half the roster is going to be like 2 times champions because
Right,
between
right,
Mookie, like Price, like everyone's
yeah,
Kimbrel being gone, like
yeah.
I think winning
I
3 World Series is one franchise is something you're going to work hard
I
for,
think that's
especially
an
having
argument,
Mookie and Rookie of the Year in the mix.
right? And I think that's an argument you can make. Is I mean, he's definitely in the Red Sox Hall of Fame. I think you can make an argument for number retired,
Yeah, and I think
but
kick around the ballot, but never ever.
yeah, yeah. But it's one of those that kind of opens me up to like other numbers. I almost think like like you hear about 21 maybe with Clemens, and I think that's an option too. I know it kind of ended weird, but I think that has anyone even worn 20? I think it's one of those weird ones where they haven't officially retired it, but I can't even think of anyone who's worn it recently.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone.
And then I don't know. I feel like 24, just like a joint effort between mostly Manny and Dwight Evans, and like a dash David Price. Like
Well,
I don't know.
was he 10 when he won the World
I
Series?
think he was 24 when he won it, and
And
then I
then,
think he was
yeah,
10 in the last year for the
yeah.
Red Sox, if I remember
Let me
correctly.
just go 5 to anyone.
And then what's that?
Let me just go 5.
Well, yeah, five. Again, I love Nolan Ryan if he did enough to get his number
That's true.
retired.
Yeah,
Yeah, but those are the only two I can think of. But yeah, great career for Pedroia. Oh my God, did you hear this story about Ortiz?
I didn't know his name for like
Oh my God,
8 or
I
9
was
years.
dying. Yeah, the if you haven't heard the story, basically he was telling it. I think it was a fundraising event, and uh, again, Pedroia's he hit in front. He was the number two hitter. Ortiz was number three for like probably 8 9 years at this point. And another player came over and or we might even the umpire called him Dustin. And Ortiz was just floored. He's like, "What did he just call you?" He's like, "Dustin." He's like, "Yeah, why do you say that?" He's like, "Because that's my name." And then he thought his name was Pee Wee.
Yeah.
But he said, "Why would my parents name me Pee Wee?" It was all time Ortiz moment for Pedroia, and again, guys that were such integral parts of multiple championships here. So, yeah, number 15, hanging it up, calling it a career. Truly one of the best Red Sox I've seen in my lifetime. Like I said, we mentioned some of the all-time greats, and I think he's kind of right behind them there. So, uh, yeah, now it's X. X is the again longest tenure guy, and we'll see what he can do. Obviously, the rest of his career in the middle infield, but yeah, wanted to definitely make sure we hit on that. Honored one of the greatest Red Sox of our lifetime. Also, a quick MLB note here. They came across this tonight here. Chris Archer coming back to the AL East, back with his Rays. He was briefly in Pittsburgh, but going back to Tampa on a 1 year deal. So just a quick note there. Tampa kind of trying to refill the pitching staff after they shipped Snell out to San Diego. So trying to bring back old Chris Archer.
Yeah, if anything, because I mean he's been a shell of himself the last couple of years in Pittsburgh. He's been terrible. I
Mm-hmm.
don't really expect much from him on his second stint in Tampa. But at the very least, if he did, it's just another knife twist in Pittsburgh for one of the worst trades in all the history. If you get anything
He's
back,
the guy you got just went back, yeah, with
yeah, I got back and he stunk for you and he came back.
Meadows.
Even if he
Yeah.
stinks, like it's just like okay, it was a bad trade. Now if he's good, it's just like a knife twist. Like oh,
So you gave those
we gave
prospects
him, he
away.
stunk, and we got him back, and that was good again. Like that was
Yeah,
hilarious.
man. But yeah, so Archer back in the division. Not too much. I know again we talked about the Arenado trade last episode, but we'll see what happens there. And then now I want to end the show with a little bit of video game news. So first, sticking with the MLB, our guy, my guy, one of my favorite guys in the league right now, face of the league, I would say. Fernando Tatis Jr. getting the cover of MLB The Show. And this is going to kind of spring into my other argument. I haven't really owned a console in quite a few years now, and I'm starting to get the itch with the new PS5 if I can ever come across one. I know the Tony Hawk game came out recently. The show, I shouldn't let a cover attract me, but it kind of is. Makes me want to get back into MLB The Show. And then the huge news that dropped today, a college football game, one that we have not seen since NCAA 14, so almost 8 years ago now, because they know they do the year ahead. It's probably 7.5 at this point. It's coming back. I know the specifics are a little grainy. I don't know how much, the licensing and real players, real teams, I don't know how that's going to work. But there is a college game in the works. It seems like it'll be coming out for 2022. And I know that kind of broke the internet today. A lot of people really were excited with that news.
Yeah, so let's start with the show. Great pick of the cover athlete. Great picture of him doing his bat flip. And then it's going to be available on Xbox One. The show has been available on Xbox in their time history.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. It's
I'll explain their sale. So that was a great job by the show franchise. So I kind of go on that. And then, I mean, they've done the online rosters for NCAA football the last couple of years. Like that's how I've been playing it. It's just like an old PS3 game. The fact that we get it with the next gen graphics on the PS5 or an Xbox One, the fact we actually go through a playoff. And even if it takes years to get likeness, there's always guys making rosters. So
right. So it's like as long as we can get get all the teams in, because I think that might have been in question today. I don't know. Because if it's the old game too, where you have, you get all the teams in there, and then it's quarterback, number 16 for Clemson. Then you can just download rosters, like you said. It's not like back in the day where it was a little bit harder. But
it says they're getting all the schools in there, so as long as I can, hoping they can get a game out in September. I thought I saw it might take 2 or 3 years, but
yeah, that's true actually. Yeah, because it's weird because people are saying 2022, but then that's true. Now you mentioned it, they did say 2 or 3 years. So
even if it takes time to get likeness and they give like fake rosters with like QB whatever, it's fine. Somebody's gonna auto generate the names for me. So I'm very excited to see how they'll look, because like it's basically skipping the whole entire generation, because that was like the end of PS3.
PS5 just completely ignored PS4.
The upgrade was fantastic, and I'm very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, for sure. So again, I am as well. Like I said, I think I got to get back in the console game. I almost wish I did earlier. I think if it wasn't for the release of PS5, I would have earlier, because now's the time to do it when we're kind of stuck at home. But I think I'm just gonna kind of wait and see once those become available again. And I guess I'm getting older anyway, so be inside more anyway. But no, that just all these combo of things that are happening. I think even the new Madden, you can go to a college too. Like I don't know how that'll work with the college game.
Basically, play the college football playoff, and you get sent to a league, and it's basically just a regular franchise mode, but you're just the quarterback, and you can control the entire team. I don't know. At least that was Madden 20.
But so the games are bringing the heat. They're trying to get me back for sure, but we'll see on that front. But yeah, certainly huge news if we're going to get some sort of college game back in our lives here. But I think that's pretty much all we had today. Like I said, Saturday afternoon we'll probably come through with a
hefty football preview.
Yeah. We might have, again, if any major news breaks in the other leagues, we'll certainly talk about it. Maybe just quickly recap the local teams here, but
touch on the start of the road trip and the Philly series for
right. Exactly. We'll hit on some Celtics and Bruins, and then any other major news in the league. I'm almost hoping the NFL doesn't too much, because they had the huge trade last week, but I want to focus mostly on Super Bowl previews.
If anything, it might be a little hot stove, but
yeah, we'll see. See what happens this week as far as MLB goes. But yeah, mostly again, Super Bowl preview, the game, what we expect. Again, we'll do some prop bets, see what the lines are, what we're thinking as far as that goes. And really just, like I said, getting ready. We're getting into the final few days here before Super Bowl 55. Again, just hope we have a good game on Sunday evening. But yeah, that'll be most of the show on Saturday. Also working on here, we did run out of storage on our account, so we had to upgrade to the unlimited storage, which also comes with Spotify. So that's I think big news for everyone too. If the Podbean thing's a little bit of a pain in the ass, or clicking through our Twitter and Facebook. So
Mhm.
gonna work on getting that at Spotify as well, which I think will be huge for everyone. I know pretty much everyone these days has Spotify. We can also get it on Apple Music too. I think
Mhm.
if people do that instead. So that'll be coming in the coming days as well. And as always, we do appreciate everyone out there who has been giving us the likes and shares on social media, and also just listening to us here. So um, with that, unless you had anything else to add here, Mike.
Nah, just looking forward to the big game.
Yep. So again, we'll be back with you with that preview on Saturday. Once again, thank you to everyone, and we'll see you on Saturday.
Have a great rest of your week, everyone.